in-depth cruise review of the Navigator of the Seas coming up right after this. Hey everybody, it's Mike from Cruise Bed Adventures here, and I'm back again with another cruise review vlog. And we're going to talk all about the Navigator of the Seas and my cruise on board. And I'm going to spill all the beans, and I've even got a little cheat sheet. I've done my work, I've got my notes in front of me. And so we're going to talk all about it. And we'll start with the first section, and that will be the pre-cruise. We'll talk about the cruise port itself, which is actually San Pedro, if you look it up on the map, which is directly across from Long Beach, in case you're wondering. So it's about, I flew into LAX, and it was about a $40 Uber ride from the airport out to San Pedro. Good tip for if you are going to stay, or if you're going to fly in the day before the cruise, which I highly recommend. I would recommend the Crown Plaza Hotel in San Pedro. It's a great location. It has a restaurant, bar. It's in walking distance of a lot of other restaurants, bars, shops. So that's the one I would recommend. I did not stay there, unfortunately. I made the mistake of staying at the Motel 6 studios. If you see that, if you do a search for hotels in that area and that pops up, just don't do it. Just that's all I'm gonna say. It's just don't do it. But San Pedro itself, there are some things to do, and it's within walking distance of the Crown Plaza, and there's the Los Angeles Maritime Museum right there. There's also the USS Iowa Battleship Museum, and which I visited both of those places. Like I said, I walked from my hotel over there, and the cruise terminal is actually right next door to the USS Iowa. So, that's one thing I did like about the port area is it's very, friendly as far as like being able to walk to and from places. So, I can't think of anything else to add to that. So we'll move on to the next section, which would be the embarkation. Embarkation day, I walked from my hotel, and like I say, it was just right across the street, and took me about 10 minutes to get from my hotel to the cruise terminal on foot. And the terminal itself is pretty well organized, and it's I'd say they do a really good job of running it. And right off the bat, they have the porters there to help you with your bags. If you're going to drop off your luggage and have them take it on board. Those guys, let me tell you, they were very proactive. They actually came out to me before I even got there. And so I dropped my luggage off, gave a nice tip, of course. And then I walked on to the where you check in for your cruise. And basically the way they had it set up, they had 4 different lines. One line was for the Pinnacle, Diamond Plus, Diamond, Suite guests. Then they had another line for the Key, and then I had a 10:30 boarding time, and so They had a line for the 10:30. They had already started boarding the 10 o'clock, so they had a line for the 10:30 and a line for 11 o'clock. And so, and they had it kind of like in a little tent area outside. And so I just jumped in the 10:30 line, and I was only in that line for maybe 5 minutes. And then they have a person that will wave through a certain amount at a time. And so then when I got inside, I mean, it was really fast. I got through security, like 2 minutes. It's really fast. Got inside, and it's really a simple, basic layout there. It's not as ritzy as some of the cruise terminals that you might see out in Florida or anything, but very efficient. The people there are very friendly, very very professional, and they move the process along. And it only took me, after getting through security, I went to the guest services, checked in, and then I was waved, right on through. So, I mean, about 10 minutes total, if that. Uh, and then I was on the ship. I can't think of anything else to add to that, so we'll move it along to the cabin. Well, all right. As far as my cabin, I had an ocean view cabin on the second deck. Originally, I had started out with an interior, with one of those virtual balcony interiors, which I had never had one of those before. But I got a royal up bid offer, and I placed a bid, and it got accepted, and so I got upgraded to an ocean view on the second deck. It was a smaller, as far as the size goes. It was a little bit smaller of an ocean view than I'm used to, but hey, I was cruising by myself, so it was perfect for me. Plenty of room for everything I needed, so no complaints. I would say, I would one thing I would note is, the Navigator of the Seas is it's same class as the Adventure of the Seas, which I believe is a Voyager class. So it's an older ship, but they did a revamp. I guess they call it an AMP. It's one of the AMP ships, and so it's been refurbished, and you can see that as you walk around. If you've been on the Adventure of the Seas, you can definitely see the difference between that ship and this ship. A lot of newer furnishings, designs, artwork, a lot of new venues. But one area I think that you can tell where they didn't spend the money, and that's on the rooms. And this is just my opinion. Maybe some of the other cabins got it, but the cabin that I had, you could definitely tell it's seen its better days. We'll say that the carpet was really worn, stained. The walls were kind of chipped up a little. The desk and some of the other stuff, the cabinets was kind of beat up a little bit, and not that anything. I mean, nothing was broken. Everything was definitely functional. The bed was very comfortable, but I just thought that it's fair to point that out. Just in case you're thinking about booking a cruise on the Navigator of the Seas, it's just something to be aware of. Just a little heads up on that. All right, everybody's favorite subject, food. And so I'm going to break this down between complimentary and specialty. So we'll start off with the complimentary. So obviously, when you book a cruise, you get the main dining room and the buffet are always included. Also, on Navigator of the Seas in particular, they had El Loco Fresh, which was kind of I'd describe it as like a buffet style, Mexican restaurant, and it was up on the pool deck, right across from Johnny Rockets, and right outside where the Windjammer is. And it's, I guess the closest thing I'd compare it to, I'd compare it kind of to the Blue Iguana. If for any of you guys that's been on Carnival, similar to that. But I was a little disappointed with it. They did have a couple of meat selections, and basically the way they had it set up is you grab your tray, go through, get your tortilla or your taco shell or whatever, and then they'd have a couple. One of them was like some pork, and I forget what the other one was. I think it was chicken, and they had some rice and beans, and then they had like a little salsa bar with toppings and all of that. And then they had like some pre-made burritos that were already wrapped up that you could just grab and go. Uh, but I don't know. It didn't. I didn't see. It really didn't appeal to me very much. And I did try one of the pre-made burritos, and it was mostly tortilla with just a little bit of like rice, beans, and some meat on the inside. And so I wasn't too impressed with it. So I tried it, and I ended up going and eating at the Windjammer after I ate there. So, but I did try it out. And so after that, as far as the main dining room goes, I only ate there one night for dinner, and it was pretty good. The service was good. I had a good table, and I have no complaints there. I can't even. I can't. I'm trying to recall what I had for that meal. I believe it was like some sort of chicken breast. Uh, but I remember that. I mean, the food was good. The service was good. Very friendly. Uh, I did like the way the atmosphere of the main dining room. They did come out, and the servers came out, performed a little music routine and dance routine. So that was, kind of was reminiscent of what you would see on Carnival with the whole Showtime dancing and singing and stuff that they do there. Uh, but yeah, all in all, I got no complaints with the main with the MDR. Um, it was typical. Nothing, nothing new, nothing bad, nothing good. But or well, it was good, but I don't have anything negative to say. Let's just put it that way. So then after that, the Windjammer was where I ate breakfast and lunch mostly, and the Windjammer on Navigator of the Seas was you know plenty of seating. It had pretty much anything under the sun. They had all kinds of options that you could think of: dessert station, bread station, carving station, salad bar. I mean, pretty much what you would expect on any other Windjammer on any other royal ship. So moving on to the specialty dining, and I had Hooked Seafood Restaurant. That was on day one, and I had the surf and turf, and it was awesome. The whole meal from start to finish was just kind of blew me away. The venue itself, you had that New England seafood restaurant kind of vibe going on. Plenty of windows so you can look out at the ocean while you're eating. And right off the bat, they served up these. They're like little cheddar biscuits. To me, they were just pretty much what you get at like Red Lobster, the Cheddar Bay biscuits, but these were like way better. I mean, these things just melted in your mouth. I ate the whole little basket that they brought me, which is unusual because I usually don't eat the bread when they bring it, but I love those things. And like I said, the surf and turf, the lobster was perfect. The steak was perfect. The Like I said, no complaints there. I highly recommend it. The other specialty dining that I had was Jamie's Italian. Jamie's Italian was another great experience. It was just kind of the same thing. I mean, it was the decorations, the decor, the windows, so you can look out at the ocean while you're eating. The wait staff, very professional, friendly, very helpful because and I mentioned that because for me, I don't eat at Italian restaurants a lot. Very very rarely do I eat at those because usually I don't they have the menu and it's always in Italian, and I don't really know what things are, and it's hard for me to figure out something good to eat. But the wait staff here, very helpful. They were able to interpret the menu for me, ask me some questions on what I like, and help me pick out something good to eat. And so I really appreciate that. So kudos to them for that. Uh, I had the lamb chops, and and I had the meat plank for the appetizer, and it was a pretty much a home run. I mean, the only thing I didn't like, I had when I had the lamb chops for my side, I ordered the green salad, and there wasn't anything, taste wise, anything wrong with it. It was just, I guess the presentation was different from what I would expect. When I think of a salad, I think of shredded lettuce and some vegetables mixed in and all that. Uh, but and I guess it's my fault for not really asking for clarification on that. But the green salad was kind of like a head of lettuce that they kind of chopped in half, and then they set it on the plate with some sort of like avocado, uh, sauce or something that they set it on, and so that's the only thing but it's it's more, I guess it's more my fault and more of a preference thing than anything. But other than that, I highly recommend Jamie's Italian. If you like Italian food, then you'll love Jamie's Italian. All right, if you like cocktails, then Navigator of the Seas is definitely cocktail friendly. Right off the bat, one thing that's different on Navigator that you wouldn't find on some of the other Voyager class ships is the bamboo room. And that was one of the additions that they put in when I guess they amped it. And let me tell you, that place is awesome. I think that might be one of my new favorite venues that I'm discovering on my Royal Caribbean journey, if you will. I haven't been on any of the Oasis class ships yet. I will next year, or actually, I will be in November. Uh, but yeah, the Bamboo Room, you know, it's a Polynesian themed bar, and you go in and it's got that South Pacific vibe in there. Kind of that tiki hut kind of feel with the tiki drinks and all that. And they have a really awesome signature drink menu. And it's, I guess I would compare it somewhat to like Carnival's got the Alchemy bar. The only difference is, with the Bamboo Room, it's a set menu of signature drinks and some traditional drinks. Whereas Alchemy, you kind of tell them what you want, they'll create a drink for you. But the reason I compare it to Alchemy is the skill and the workmanship of the bartenders in the Bamboo Room. I would put on that level. I mean, they really took the time and effort to make the drinks perfectly. They didn't rush them. Sometimes you go to maybe you go to like the bar up by the pool or something, and there's a crowd and they're just kind of like slamming those drinks out there. Maybe not making them perfectly to specs, but definitely in the Bamboo Room, what I noticed was they put a lot of time and effort into those drinks, and they were all very delicious. If you like rum, if you're a rum fan, then you definitely want to stop in there. One thing of note, though, if you do go to the Bamboo Room and you have the drink package, there is a $1 additional fee. And the reason for that, and not on all the drinks, but if you're ordering from any of their signature drinks, it's a $1 fee, because I guess the price of those cocktails are a little bit outside what's covered in your drink package. But the bartenders are really good about letting you know that up front. So when you order it, they'll let you know, hey, if you got the drink package, this is going to be $1 extra. So, which to me, it was worth it. to be able to enjoy some of those drinks on there. Yeah, the lime and coconut bar too is another one that's really good. If you like a good cocktail, uh, if you go there, I highly recommend the lime and coconut cocktail. It's very delicious. You don't taste any of the alcohol, which is kind of dangerous, but it's the perfect refreshing drink on a hot day when you're up by the pool enjoying the sun and you want something cool and to cool you down. It's I highly recommend it. That was my drink of choice at the lime and coconut bar. Uh, those were the two main bars I went to. I did stop in at the Playmakers, which they do have on this ship, and I was a little bit disappointed with it. And the reason I say that is, it's the typical Playmakers layout, which you expect in any of the other Playmakers that you would see on any of the other Royal Caribbean ships. But this one, I think it was in a little bit smaller venue than some of the other ones, and I kind of felt like they were understaffed because I only ever saw like two workers and sitting at the bar. The bar was always pretty busy, and so if you were sitting at any of the other tables, you weren't going to get any service there. You had to actually go up to the bar, which is a little bit something that I wasn't used to compared to some of the other playmakers that I've been to. But the venue is nice, and like I say, I think it's just it seemed to me like it was a matter of it just not being staffed properly. But that was just my take on that. All right, let's talk about the ports. This was a 4-day cruise, and we hit Catalina and we hit Ensenada. So basically, we left Los Angeles, had a sea day, and then we hit Catalina, and that's a tender port, and so you have to take the ferry in, and the way they were working it is you get your tender tickets down in by the main dining room, and they made an announcement, and you could go down there and grab a ticket, and they had it like set out, by times, and so I just walked down there, asked them for a ticket, and they asked how many was with me. I told them I was just by myself, and so she gave me like a ticket for the earliest one, and went on down there and got right on the tender. It wasn't much of a line at all. And made it into the place where they drop you off, the little marina. And for some reason, I meant to ask somebody about it, but they had a serious like bee issue going on. I mean, it just that whole little pier area where they drop you off and then where you catch the tender to go back it just seemed like it was like one of those 70s killer bee movies. I mean, it was crazy. But originally I had an excursion booked for Catalina. I was going to do the casino tour, which I believe it was like $40. But I got informed the day I got on board that tour had been canceled. Apparently, that not enough people signed up for it, so they just canceled it and refunded my money. So I decided to just take off on my own, explore the city on foot, and see what I could get into. And so I walked, from the marina around through town and down and just followed the water line. And I actually ended up at the casino building and decided to go in and tour it myself. So they charge like $20 to go in and tour it. And it's kind of set up as a museum. I mean, they do have an actual movie theater in the bottom, and it's not a casino. They call it the casino building, and I'm not 100% sure why they did that. But there's not a casino there, but they do have an actual movie theater on the bottom floor. And the lady that worked there told me that I guess they show movies there, I believe Thursday through Sunday for the locals. And So yeah, that was pretty interesting. And then I went upstairs, and they had like some exhibits set up to tell you kind of the history of the place. And then they also have a huge ballroom set up. And I don't know. I'm assuming they must do some sort of events there, because it seemed like they have an actual bar set up. I mean, nothing was going on while I was there, but it seems like they probably must have some sort of events there. But it was pretty awesome, because when you go on the outside up at the top, you can see everything. It's a lot of good views from there. So I recommend it. If you're in Catalina and you don't have anything to do and you want to see, do something, you can check that out. They did have the golf cart rentals, all kinds of equipment rentals. They had a small beach area, but it wasn't very big. And but I mean, it was there. And like I said, they had all kinds of equipment, and they had excursions that you could book there. Some of the locals were running, uh, but they had a little bit of everything. They had shops, they had restaurants, bars, you know, the typical stuff you would expect in a cruise port. And all in all, I stayed in port for an hour or two, and then I went back on board the ship. And but I thought it was a real beautiful place. I think next time around, I might either uh, get one of the golf carts, or try to find some other excursion or something, so I could maybe experience a little bit more of the town. So the other port was Ensenada, and so that was the day after Catalina. And uh, all in all, I kind of slept in that day, and so I didn't get off the ship till right around lunchtime. And so I just kind of took off, and walked out the little walking path that'll take you out to town. And kind of splits, and so like one way will take you out into the town itself, or you can follow the waterway around to the left. And they have a bunch of bars, restaurants, souvenir shops and stuff right around there. There's a little amphitheater set up where they have like this fountains that shoot up from the ground, which was kind of neat. And a lot of the locals bring their kids down there to play and all that. Uh, so I took off that way, and just kind of walked around. And then I found a little seafood restaurant there, and so I had lunch. I had the surf and turf there. It was pricey. I mean, that's one thing I did notice. They definitely hit you with the tourist prices. It was over $50. Let's just put it that way. So definitely not what I would have expected. I mean, the meal that I had there was more expensive than what I had at Hooked specialty dining restaurant on the ship. So, but the food was good. I'm not going to say it wasn't. It was good, and that's my fault for not inquiring about that before I ordered it. But you live and you learn. But to me, it was worth it. Where I was sitting, you could see the whole marina and the ship and everything. So, and it was a really nice day with a nice breeze blowing in. So, you know, I mean, I would have probably spent that kind of money on an excursion. So, you just kind of chalk that one up. And so after that, I kind of wandered around a little bit more, and then I went on back to the ship. As far as like the vendors, I know a lot of people when you go to some of these ports in other countries, people are always concerned about the vendors, trying to sell them stuff. And there was a little bit of that there. I'm not going to say there wasn't, but it didn't seem as bad as some other ports. Yeah, you'll get approached, but for the most part, if you're not making eye contact with them, and as long as you just keep walking, then it's no big deal. Uh, so yeah, I got back on the ship, and all in all, I didn't get to explore a lot of Ensenada, and so, but I think that was just more me being tired and just wanting to get something to eat. But I think if I go there again, I'd like to do some excursions and get out and actually see some stuff, enjoy the countryside. Maybe go to some of the vineyards. I hear they've got a lot of nice vineyards and stuff out there. But yeah, I've got no complaints about the port. One thing of note, I noticed that anytime you're coming back to the ship after a port, after going out into one of the ports, usually when you get back on the ship, they have the X-ray machine set up and you scan your bags and stuff and go on through. But I noticed this time around they actually did that off the ship. So when you come back, you go through the little cruise terminal, and I thought the building that I was going into would be one of those like duty free shops like you see in like Cozumel or something, but it wasn't. It was like the security folks, and I think it was like the Mexican security authorities there, and they had you scan your bags and all that. But it wasn't that, wasn't too serious. Like I said, it was the same process that you would do on the ship. They just did it off the ship. And, they were very friendly, very professional. I mean, nobody was rude or anything. So I just thought it was something interesting to point out. And with that, I think that's about all I can say about the two ports. And so we'll move on to the next section. All right, well, let's talk about the debarkation. And so, for anytime you do the debarkation, they always give you two options. You can either have them carry your luggage off, and then you go off and then grab your luggage later, or you can carry your own luggage off. And so this time around, I had them carry my bags off the ship simply because I had signed up for the shuttle to the airport, and so when you do that, you kind of have to have your bags out and all that. So that's what I did. So they gave me some tags at guest services, filled them out, put them on my suitcase, set it out the night before. And then the morning of, I noticed that they, it was a typical procedure. The Pinnacle, Diamond Plus, Diamond, Suite guests, all they got to debark first, and then after that, it was the people that had their stuff, or actually, if you were doing your carry-on, I think if you were taking luggage off yourself, those folks, and then after that, they started calling luggage tags. And so you would basically hang out in your room or whatever. Or they had different designated places. But for me, since I was doing the shuttle to the airport, they had us meet in one of the lounges, and I think it was 8 o'clock. So at 8 o'clock, I made my way down there, and it was a pretty smooth process. Getting off the ship, I had luggage group tag or luggage tag number 1, so I was one of the first ones off for that. And I mean, I literally just walked right off and grabbed my luggage. And as far as like customs goes, they're doing the facial recognition, so they just stand in front of the camera, and then boom, I was right through. No big deal. And I can't think of anything else to cover there, so we'll go on to the last section. All right, this last section is that I'm going to cover is what I did after getting off. And so, like I mentioned in the previous section, I was doing the shuttle to the airport. Well, basically, they had the shuttles to the airport that was through Royal Caribbean, but the one that I booked was the shuttle in conjunction with a 5-hour tour of Los Angeles. And the reason I did that is I was actually flying out the next day, and I had a hotel reservation by the airport. And since I got off the ship at 8 o'clock in the morning, I knew I wasn't going to be able to go straight and check into my hotel. So I needed something to do, kill some time until check-in time. So I went to the shore excursions desk when I got on board and asked the guy if they had anything. And so he told me about the Los Angeles tour, and I think it cost me $70, and which it's not that bad if you think about it, because it would have cost me $40 at least for an Uber back to the airport, and so for an additional 30, I'm basically getting a tour around all over Los Angeles. So that to me was a pretty good deal. So I went ahead and booked it, and so as part of the deal, they handle all your luggage, and so you basically, when you get off the ship, you grab your luggage and then you just carry it outside to the bus. They put it on the bus for you, and then you get on the bus, and then you begin your 5 hour tour of Los Angeles. And they took us all over, and just so you know, the bus was very comfortable, air conditioned, had the power plugs to charge your phone or your laptop or whatever, and that you have a tour guide that's kind of giving you, calling out different points of interest along the way. You do spend a lot of time sitting on the bus because it is Los Angeles and there is a lot of traffic. So as you're getting from one point to the next, you got to deal with the traffic. So, but I think they had it organized pretty well, and they had a pretty good tour route lined up for you. So I felt like it was a pretty good value, and there was like two different spots. Uh, well, actually, there was three. Yeah, we stopped at three places where you could actually get off and spend some time, shopping, going to the restroom, getting a drink, getting a souvenir, whatever. Um, we stopped at there was a little marketplace in one area, and then we went to. I know we stopped at the in Hollywood, on where they have the movie the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the Chinese theater and all that. So that was pretty cool. I'd never done that before, so that was kind of neat. And so yeah, it was. I felt like it was worth the price. Kept gave me something to do. Got to see some cool stuff along the way. Last chance to buy some souvenirs, get some last minute photos and all kinds of stuff. So I recommend it. If you book your flight for later, for the same day that you get in, but it's going to be later in the day, you might consider it. I think that was my first time doing it, and now that I've done it, I think I'll definitely keep that in mind for future cruises. And so yeah, after the tour was over, they dropped me off at the airport, and of course I was able to grab a shuttle over to my hotel, and then fly home the next morning. So that is it. That is all the high points, the low points. I can't think of any other you know important details. I will say that I really enjoyed it. It was a 4 day cruise with two port visits. Went by pretty fast. I think if I was to do it again, and I was going to do that particular ship again, since they're doing 4 day cruises, I'd probably try to do it back to back, just so I could have more time on the ship. I mean, and that's the other thing. The ship itself, Navigator of the Seas, I really enjoyed it. It's not one of the mega ships. I mean, I guess there was a point in time when that ship was the biggest cruise ship in the world, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. But it's nothing compared to these Oasis class ships, and now you got the Icon coming out. But I think it. I would probably recommend it. If you're, for a first time cruiser, and you want to go on a mid sized ship to see, just to see if you like it. It's got a lot to offer, a lot of venues. I mean, since they amped it and they added all that stuff, I think it's a lot of stuff for that size ship. And then when you consider that it's the cruise that I was on was only 4 days, it goes by so fast, and it really wasn't boring. There was stuff to do all the time, things to check out, and uh, I didn't even get to see a lot of it. So you know, I enjoyed it. I would do it again, and I also liked the cruise terminal, San Pedro. I think that was a very cruiser friendly port. plenty of stuff to do. I know I've seen some reviews for some other people saying that they felt like there wasn't a lot to do, but I don't know. I guess it really depends on your each person's taste. For me, I really enjoyed the Maritime Museum there. I'm big into. I spent 20 years in the Navy, so I kind of geek out on nautical stuff, ships history, things like that, and then having the USS Iowa Museum right next door is another bonus. Again, me being a retired Navy person, I mean, that was right up my alley, to go check out those huge guns on the battleship and all that. So I loved it. I would definitely cruise out of there again. I would cruise on Navigator of the Seas again. I recommend them both. And that's all I've got to say about it, folks. That's it. That's the last you're going to hear from me on the Navigator of the Seas. Uh, if there's something that I didn't cover and you got a question about it, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. If you got a question about some of the other stuff, feel free to ask it. But that's it. And as always, on the way out, if you like this video, consider hitting the thumbs up. And if you're new here, new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's 1,000% free. It helps the channel grow, helps push the message out to more people. And, I really appreciate anybody that watches, likes, subscribes, shares, comments. It really means a lot. And so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I appreciate you watching. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're enjoying whatever it is you got going on today. And I will see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.